the world before the flood. Who was the first messenger ever sent to humanity? Did a flood really destroy an entire civilization? Could a single man spend centuries warning his people, only to be mocked by those he loved? Thousands of years before the rise of great empires, before the pyramids of Egypt, before Babylon, before Rome, there lived a man whose patience became one of the greatest examples in human history. His name was Nuh, known in English as Noah. His story is not simply about a massive flood. It is a story about faith in the face of rejection, hope in the middle of despair, and unwavering trust in Allah when the entire world turns against you. According to Islam, the story of Noah marks one of the greatest turning points in human history. It is the story of how humanity nearly destroyed itself, and how Allah gave mankind a second beginning. Generations had passed since Adam first walked upon the earth. His children multiplied. Families became tribes. Tribes became nations. For many years, people continued worshiping Allah alone, just as Adam had taught them. There were no idols, no temples dedicated to false gods, no statues worshipped by mankind. People knew their Creator. They prayed only to Him. But Satan had not forgotten the promise he made after being expelled from paradise. He continued whispering to every generation, not all at once, but slowly, patiently, step by step. That is how deception always begins. Among the people lived several righteous men. They were known for their kindness, honesty, and devotion to Allah. Their names are mentioned in the Qur'an. Wad, Suwa, Yagith, Yuak, and Nasr. When these righteous men died, the people became deeply saddened. Satan saw an opportunity. He whispered to them, "Build statues in their memory, not to worship them, only so you will remember their righteousness and be inspired to worship Allah as they did." At first, it seemed harmless. The statues were only reminders. No one bowed before them. No one prayed to them. But generations passed. The people who knew the real purpose of those statues died. A new generation grew up. They looked upon the statues with curiosity. Then Satan whispered once again, "These statues are special. Your ancestors honored them for a reason." Little by little, respect turned into reverence. Reverence became devotion. Devotion became worship. For the first time since Adam, humanity abandoned pure monotheism. They began praying to idols instead of Allah. They sought blessings from carved stone. They believed statues could bring rain, protect their families, and answer their prayers. The greatest sin had returned to the earth. Shirk, associating partners with Allah. It was then that Allah chose a man from among them. A man known for his honesty. A man respected by his people. A man who had never worshipped an idol. His name was Nuh. Allah honored him by making him the first messenger sent to a people who had fallen into idolatry. His mission was simple. Call the people back to the worship of Allah alone. No partners, no aidas, no intermediaries, only the one true Creator. Nuh stood before his people and said, "O my people, worship Allah. You have no deity other than Him. Indeed, I fear for you the punishment of a tremendous day." His message was clear, simple, powerful, but instead of listening, the leaders laughed. They mocked him. They said, "You are only a man like us. Why should we follow you?" If Allah wished to send a messenger, He would have sent an angel. Their pride blinded them. They believed their wealth made them superior. Their power made them arrogant. And their traditions became more important than the truth. Yet Nuh never gave up. Day after day, month after month, year after year, He continued calling them. He visited their homes. He spoke in public. He preached in private. He reminded them of Allah's blessings. He warned them about the consequences of disbelief. He told them that Allah is most merciful and would forgive anyone who sincerely repented. He promised that obedience to Allah would bring rain, prosperity, children, and abundant provision. But the harder he tried, the more stubborn they became. The Quran describes one heartbreaking scene. Whenever Nuh invited them toward Allah, they placed their fingers in their ears. They covered themselves with their clothes. They refused even to hear his words. Imagine spending decades, then centuries, trying to save people who refused to listen. Still, that never stopped, because every prophet measures success, not by the number of followers, but by obedience to Allah. Years became decades. Decades became centuries. Generation after generation rejected the same message. Children grew into adults. Adults became elders. And the cycle repeated itself. 950 years. That is how long Nuh preached to his people. Nearly 1,000 years of patience. Nearly 1,000 years of hope. Nearly 1,000 years of calling people toward the truth. Yet only a small number believed him. Most remained loyal to their idols. Most chose pride over guidance. Most laughed whenever they saw the old prophets speaking about Allah. They thought history would never change. They believed they were safe. They had no idea that Allah's promise is always true. And soon, the command that would change the world forever would finally arrive. For 950 years, Noah remained patient. He watched children grow into adults. He watched adults become elders. Generation after generation heard the same message. Worship Allah alone. Yet only a small number believed. The wealthy mocked him. The powerful rejected him. The leaders feared that accepting Noah's message would mean losing their influence over the people. They told everyone, do not abandon your gods. Do not abandon Wad, Suh, Yagath, Yoak, or Nasser. The idols had become part of their identity. Truth no longer mattered. Tradition had replaced revelation. Eventually, Allah revealed something to Noah that no prophet ever wishes to hear. Allah informed him, no one else from your people will ever believe except those who have already believed. The time for calling had come to an end. Centuries of patience, centuries of warning, centuries of mercy had been rejected. Noah understood that the decision had already been made. His people had chosen disbelief. With a heart full of sorrow, Noah raised his hands to Allah. He prayed, my Lord, do not leave upon the earth from among the disbelievers even one inhabitant. For if you leave them, they will mislead your servants and will give birth only to wicked and ungrateful people. This was not a prayer made out of anger. It was the conclusion of nearly 1,000 years of witnessing people reject every opportunity to repent. Allah answered Noah's prayer, but before the punishment would arrive, Allah gave one final command. Build the ark under our observation and according to our revelation. An enormous ship, built far away from the sea. It sounded impossible. There were no oceans nearby, no rivers large enough to carry such a vessel. Yet Noah never questioned Allah's command. He simply obeyed. Day after day, he cut trees. He carried heavy timber. He shaped massive wooden beams. Piece by piece, the ark began to rise. The believers worked beside him. Their faith gave them strength. But every day, groups of disbelievers passed by. Whenever they saw the enormous ship taking shape, they laughed. They mocked Noah. They said, have you become a carpenter after claiming to be a prophet? Where is the sea? Has the desert become an ocean? What will you do with a ship in the middle of dry land? Their laughter echoed through the valleys. Children pointed and laughed. Adults mocked him openly. Some even believed Noah had gone mad. Yet Noah remained calm. He simply replied, if you mock us today, a day will come when we will mock you, just as you mock us now. Soon you will know who will receive a humiliating punishment. The ark continued to grow. Its size amazed everyone. Every wooden beam, every plank, every nail was placed exactly as Allah intended. Noah did not know when the flood would come. He only knew that Allah's promise never fails. The believers continued working. Their trust was stronger than the ridicule surrounding them. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. The ark stood complete, waiting, silent, like a warning that no one wanted to believe. Then, the first sign appeared, a sign so unexpected that no human could have imagined it. Allah had told Noah, when the oven begins to overflow with water, know that our command has arrived. Water, bursting from an oven. The impossible had begun. The earth itself started releasing water from beneath its surface. At the same time, the skies grew dark. Clouds unlike anything people had ever seen covered the horizon. The wind became heavy. The air changed. Animals behaved strangely. Everything in creation seemed to know that a great event was about to begin, except the people who continued laughing. They still believed Noah was wrong. They still believed tomorrow would be just another ordinary day. They had no idea that the greatest flood in human history was only moments away. The sky grew darker with every passing hour. A silence unlike any before settled over the land. The people continued with their daily lives, unaware that history was about to change forever. Then it happened. Rain began to fall. At first, it seemed ordinary, but within moments, the rain became heavier. Then heavier still. It did not stop. The clouds poured water without mercy. At the same time, the earth itself began to erupt. Springs burst from the ground. Water rushed from places where no water had ever existed. Rivers overflowed. Valleys disappeared beneath rising floods. The Quran describes this incredible moment with remarkable precision. The heaven was opened with pouring rain, and the earth burst forth with springs, so the waters met for a matter already destined. Water came from above. Water came from below. The flood was no ordinary storm. It was a command from Allah. No human power could stop it. No king could escape it. No army could fight against it. As the floodwaters rose, Allah commanded Noah, "Carry aboard the ark a pair of every kind, your family, except those against whom the decree has already gone forth, and those who have believed." One by one, the believers entered the ark, men, women, children, along with pairs of animals from every species that Allah willed to preserve. Lions walked beside sheep. Birds settled peacefully. Animals that would normally attack one another entered together by Allah's command. Everything happened exactly as Allah had planned. Then Noah looked around. One person was missing, his own son. The Quran does not mention his name, but it tells us that he chose disbelief over faith. As the floodwaters climbed higher, Noah saw his son standing on higher ground. A father's heart could not remain silent. Noah called out with love and desperation, "My son, come aboard with us and do not be among the disbelievers." For nearly 1,000 years Noah had invited strangers to believe. Now he was pleading with his own child. But his son looked toward the mountains. He believed in his own strength. He believed nature could protect him. He answered, "I will take refuge on a mountain that will protect me from the water." Noah cried back, "Today there is no protection from the command of Allah, except for those upon whom He has mercy." Before another word could be spoken, a massive wave rose between them. His son disappeared forever beneath the flood. Noah watched helplessly. The pain was unimaginable. He was a prophet, yet he was also a father. The flood continued rising. Villages disappeared. Fields vanished beneath the water. Homes collapsed. The idols that people had worshipped for generations could not save even themselves. The statues remained silent. They answered no prayers. They rescued no one. Everything that people had trusted besides Allah failed them. Only those inside the ark remained safe. The ship lifted from the ground. Slowly, it floated upon waters unlike anything the world had ever witnessed. Gigantic waves surrounded the ark. The Quran describes them as being like mountains. Imagine waves towering higher than cliffs. The ark rose, then dropped, then climbed again, yet it never sank, because Allah Himself was protecting it. Inside the ark, Noah looked upon the believers. Some were afraid, some were amazed, some wept as they watched the world disappear beneath the flood. Noah reminded them, "In the name of Allah is its course and its anchorage. Indeed, my Lord is most forgiving, most merciful." Outside, the flood continued without pause. Day after day, night after night, the earth had become an endless ocean. No kingdoms remained. No cities remained. Only the ark sailed across the waters by the command of Allah. For the believers inside, this was more than survival. It was proof that Allah never abandons those who place their trust in Him. Every insult they had endured, every year of hardship, every moment they were mocked, had led to this moment. The promise of Allah had come true, and the greatest flood in human history had reached its peak. For days, the ark continued to sail across an endless sea. There was no land in sight, no mountains, no forests, no cities, only water stretching to every horizon. Inside the ark, the believers waited patiently. They had survived the greatest disaster humanity had ever witnessed. Not because they were stronger, not because they were wealthier, but because they believed. Every moment reminded them that true safety comes only from Allah. Then, the command came. Allah, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, spoke to his creation. The Quran describes this moment with extraordinary beauty. It was said, "O earth, swallow your water, and O sky, withhold your rain." Immediately, the rain stopped. The dark clouds began to disappear. The springs that had burst from the earth dried up. The floodwaters slowly began to recede. The same Creator who had commanded the water to rise now commanded it to disappear. No force in the universe could resist his command. Little by little, mountain tops emerged from beneath the water. Valleys became visible once again. The earth was being prepared for a new beginning. Then the ark came to rest, not by accident, not by chance, but exactly where Allah had decreed. The Quran tells us that the ark settled upon Mount Judy. After everything they had endured, the journey had finally come to an end. Imagine stepping out of the ark after witnessing the destruction of an entire civilization. The air was different. The land was silent. Everything familiar was gone. The world had changed forever. Noah and the believers stepped onto the earth with grateful hearts. They praised Allah for saving them. Every breath they took reminded them of his mercy. Every step they made was a reminder that life itself is a blessing from Allah. Humanity had been given a second chance. From this small group of believers, the future generations of mankind would emerge. Allah had fulfilled his promise. Truth had prevailed. Falsehood had vanished. The idols that people had worshipped for centuries had disappeared forever beneath the flood. Stone could not save its worshippers. Wood could not answer prayers. Only Allah possesses power over life and death. The story of Noah teaches one of the greatest lessons in Islam. Faith is not measured by numbers. For nearly 1,000 years, Noah preached the truth, yet only a small number believed him. By worldly standards, some might call that a failure. But in the sight of Allah, Noah was among the greatest of all messengers. Because success is not measured by how many people follow you. Success is measured by remaining faithful to Allah's command. Noah never changed his message to please the people. He never compromised the truth. He never gave up, even after centuries of rejection. His patience became legendary. His trust became an example for every believer until the end of time. His story also reminds us that guidance belongs to Allah alone. Even a prophet could not force people to believe, not even his own son. Love cannot replace faith. Family cannot replace faith. Wealth cannot replace faith. Every soul is responsible for its own choices. The flood was not only a punishment, it was also a mercy for those who believed, a new beginning for humanity, and a reminder that Allah is both perfectly just and infinitely merciful. Throughout history, many civilizations have risen and fallen. Powerful kings believed their kingdoms would last forever. Great nations imagined they could never be defeated. Yet every civilization eventually disappears. Only Allah remains. That is why the Quran repeatedly invites us to reflect upon the stories of those who came before us. Not simply to learn history, but to learn wisdom. The story of Noah is not merely about a ship. It is not merely about rain. It is about choosing truth when falsehood surrounds you. It is about standing alone if necessary. It is about trusting Allah even when everyone else laughs at your faith. Thousands of years have passed since Noah built the ark. Empires have risen. Empires have fallen. Technology has transformed the world. Yet the message of Noah remains exactly the same. Worship Allah alone. Do not allow pride to blind your heart. Do not follow the whispers of Satan. And remember that every human being will one day stand before the Creator. One day, just as the flood came without warning, the final hour will also arrive. No one knows when. No one can escape it. On that day, our wealth will not save us. Our status will not save us. Only our faith, our sincerity, and our deeds. The story of Noah is not only the story of the past. It is the story of every generation. It is our story, because every day we choose whether to board the ark of faith or remain behind with pride. The choice belongs to us, but the consequences belong to eternity. The end.